I think back to the time when I read this verse for the first time as a brand new Christian, and I'm looking at the word abide, and it's like I hadn't looked up the definition. No one talks this way in my life. Somebody says, "Are you abiding?" It's like, no, it just never comes up. It's one of those words. It's used in the Bible, has a very important meaning, but we
Mhm.
don't really use it anymore. So understanding the what of abiding, when
Mhm.
he says abide in me, knowing the what he's talking
Mhm.
about is very, very important. I mean, you have to have that before you know the how, obviously. So of course I dove in, and one of the ways that I kind of processed through this was I've never been much of a mechanic, okay, but my father-in-law was, I'm sorry, my stepfather was an incredible mechanic. He was an incredible machinist, and I would help him on working on the car every now and then. Really, it would be my car that was broken, and he'd be doing all the work for free because
Mhm.
that's what parents do, right? But there was a lot of what that I needed to learn there. You know, what's an open end wrench? What's a box end wrench? What's this? What's that? What size drive for your sockets? I had to get the language. So there's an element of this where we kind of have to get the language of what Jesus is telling us so that we can really appreciate and understand what it is he's calling us to do. Because that's the first part of our survival kit, right? You got to know what the tool is. And yeah, I one of the things that I ended up taking away from this verse was it was one of those things I think God showed to me. And it was this whole idea of reciprocal abiding.
Mhm.
Because if you go earlier back to chapter 14, I believe it is, I'd have to double check that. It talks about the Holy Spirit abiding in you. And then he says, now you abide in me. So what he's calling us into is a reciprocal abiding relationship where we don't really have to worry about whether he's succeeding or failing. He's always going to be abiding in the people that have placed their faith in him because the Holy Spirit takes up residence inside of us, right? But he calls us to abide with him as he abides in us. And it's that remaining, that dwelling,
Yeah.
that that constant touch. I like to think about it.
Yeah. I had this really cool visual that I brought to be able to show you that I left in my bag in a different space. But if you picture like three envelopes of different sizes and write Holy Spirit on the small one and put that inside of the next envelope, and on the outside of that one you write your name. And then you take that one and put it in the other envelope, and on the outside of that write Jesus or the Father.
Mm.
That kind of gives you that picture of abiding. The Spirit of God is in you and you are in Jesus,
Mm.
and you are completely encapsulated by God inside and out. He is surrounding you.
That's great to do with kids too. Very
Mhm.
practical,
Very visual.
very visual. Yeah. You could even do pictures or put favorite verses in there too
Mhm.
with kids.
Yeah, oftentimes physical examples of spiritual realities kind of fall short. And I'm sure if we tested that one long enough, we could find some deficiency to it. But especially if you're just looking for a quick and easy
Mm-hmm.
description or something that's unique and easy to remember, that's a good picture to
Mhm.
have in it.